Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you guys how to run a utility tractor. I've got a New Holland Workmaster 75. They're pretty much all going to be somewhat the same if they have the shuttle shift transmission. Some of the newer, more fancy ones are going to have electronic shuttle shift instead of like this one does where it's mechanical. So let's get to it. Alright, we've just hopped inside the cab here. Looks like a lot of levers, but it's really quite simple. Here is your loader joystick. And if you're ever wondering what something does, most everything, like that's throttle, most everything on these is labeled, but I'll run through them all. It'll be for this tractor, but I'll run through what everything does. So here on your left side, you have your parking brake and your PTO. Some tractors will have the PTO over here, but on the right side, like a button or something. But for this one, it is over here on the left side. Then coming up to the steering wheel, you've got your steering wheel. Down here, you've got your release, so you can pull it down, put it into what position you want it. Then we've got our forward and reverse shuttle shift lever here. We've got our hazards. Then we've got controls on either side for the display. We don't need to worry about those. Then here we've got turn signals and our running lights and other lights. Key, obviously. This is your four-wheel drive switch. So you just flip that to be four-wheel drive, two-wheel drive. Your front windshield wiper is here on the column as well. Then we've got your clutch, your brake pedal with split brakes. So if you put this pin in and you push, both brakes are locked together. And if you pull it out, you have your right brake and your left brake. This gets you so you can turn sharper. If you're doing lots of loader work or work that requires you to be speeding up and slowing down a lot, you've got your foot throttle here. Very simple. You've got your hand throttle here on your right side. And if you set your hand throttle to a certain RPM, your foot throttle won't do anything until you pass that RPM and go to higher revs. Here is going to be 3-point, push it in, 3-point drops all the way down. Pop this little lever right here. It'll raise all the way up. Your front work lights, rear work lights, and your rear wiper on this control, switch panel right here. Got your front light, work lights, your rear work lights, and your windshield wiper. And if you push the windshield wipers, both front and rear, just a little bit farther, as you can see there, and that gets your windshield washer fluid. Then we've got our 3-point linkage control down here and our draft control. We've got our 3 range. So as you can see, we've got 1, 2, and 3. And then we have 4 gears in each of our ranges. So we've got 4 gears in first. So we have 4 gears there. And I'll show you a bit more on the shifting once we fire up the tractor. And then here we have our 2 hydraulic remotes, both in and out. We've got in and out. And this one does have a detent. Then over here we've got our joystick. This tractor does not have a loader, but it's very simple. You've got raise, lower, curl, and dump. And then if you take your joystick and you push it all the way forward, you push it a little bit farther, it will have a detent for float. And you also have your joystick lock right there. So now, let's get this thing fired up. So first, you're going to want to turn on your key. Let your whole gauge cluster all start up. Then you want to push your clutch all the way in. Make sure you have your handbrake on still. Then we'll just fire it up. Turn the key. We'll just turn it and hold it until we hear the engine start, and then we'll let off. There we go. Now we can push our brake. Let off our handbrake, or parking brake. Also on the seat here, I forgot to mention, but we have an air seat on this one. Push it down for less air. Pull to fill up the seat, and then we have our seat adjust here. And this here for your heel is the rear diff lock. Now we're going to select the range. I'll just go into second range here. First gear. Now we're going to bring up the revs a little bit on the RPM gauge there. Now once we've let it warmed up a bit, we're going to put our lever forward into forward. Make sure we have our parking brake disengaged. Let off the brake and slowly let off the clutch. And there we go. Now we're slowly moving because we're just in second range first gear. Now I'm going to push the clutch in and shift up. And then we'll shift up to third, fourth, now we'll depress our clutch, come to a stop, and put it into reverse with our shuttle shift. And then back forward again. Now on this particular tractor, you may have to check the manual for on your tractor, but if you are at a low enough speed with the if you're at a low enough speed while you're driving, you don't actually need to push the clutch in for shifting forward and reverse with your shuttle. So like if you're using loader work or just going real slow doing something, so you can just let off the clutch. And see, we're going half a mile an hour here. We can just take our shuttle shift and stop and pull it into reverse, and that's fine. But once we get up to higher speeds, we'll want to use the clutch for shifting. And then also, if we're going forward at a, like, I don't know, you'll have to see what your manual says at how fast before. You don't want to put a unnecessary amount of load on your transmission shifting forward and reverse, but like if you're going forward, you don't want to just jam it into reverse, so that might mess something up in your transmission. But we're going to push the clutch in, and we'll shift our ranges. We'll go up to third range here first still, and then if we're going forward and like this, bring our revs up. See, we're going like 3 here. Then I would push the clutch in, slow down, and go in reverse. You just don't want, you want to make all your movements while you're driving tractors to be smooth, and you just don't want jerkiness, because that tears up your equipment. So when you're running your loader or your remotes or your 3-point, you just want to make sure everything's as smooth as possible in like how you're driving. Because if you're smooth, you go faster, but you also are tearing up less things. Because if I just go, you know, I could like jerk it like this, but that's going to tear up the transmission a lot faster than, you know, going slow. Smooth in. I was a little fast, but I'm at low revs here. And then slowing down. And then, you know, going into reverse, brake to slow down. And then forward. Also on this tractor, when you press the brakes, it engages the 4-wheel drive. So if you're going down a hill or something and you start to slide, you just hit the brakes and it'll put 4-wheel drive on. Or you've got 4-wheel drive here if you want it all the time. So that's pretty much just an overview of how to run one of these tractors. And make sure you put your parking brake on when you are done. before you exit the vehicle tractor. But hope you all enjoyed this video, or is helpful for you if you're first time driving a tractor like this and it just seems all overwhelming. Hopefully this video will help you out, and I'll see you guys all next time.